Welcome, yogis. If we haven't met, I'm Jennifer Elliott, and welcome to VinYin, or Vinyasa and Yin, sort of a nice blend of flow, and then we'll follow that up with some Yin postures. So today is for Crown Center, Sahasrara, and Crown Center is really interesting. It's about knowledge, sort of seeing yourself as one small part of a larger whole. But what I really like about this is also the detachment from knowledge. Sometimes we think we know something and then we don't really allow new information to come in. And so I invite you to sort of work more with non-attachment. So, you may know where we're going with certain poses, or you may know the pose, but see if you can find something else, or can you hear something else, either in maybe the way I instructed or in the way that you sort of listen to your body through the practice. So really finding that that knowledge through non-attachment. You're going to use a strap possibly if you have one. I already have a nice loop in mind. Mine's a super extra long loop, so I already have my loop going. And then we'll use a couple of blocks. So let's get started. So I'm going to get started in a 2-block heart opener. This is one of my favorites just because most of us round during the day and it's really nice to get into the upper thoracic. So if you don't have the 2 blocks, just start in cactus on your back. Otherwise, get yourself set up. You can set your elbows down next to your block. Take a moment to really lift and expand your chest. We're trying to get just the bottom tips of the shoulder blades pressing on that block. And then your head on block 2. I like knees bent. That just gives my low back a little bit more time to relax. Rotate the palms up. And then, as usual, close the eyes. Just take a few moments to really get into your body, into this space. Notice how you arrived here today. If you're just joining us, I was talking a little bit about working Crown Center and finding non-attachment. And when we become attached to things, it creates fear, sort of fear of losing, fear of the unknown. And a lot of us are in that place right now where we don't know what tomorrow will bring. But even if we think we do, we don't really know what tomorrow is about. We don't really know what's coming next in the practice. And so sort of detaching from that expectation and just allowing yourself to be present to what's happening right now. And right now we're settling into our mats, maybe with props or not. The eyes are closing. The jaw is relaxing. And the breath just starts to find a nice, steady rhythm in and out through the nose. Maybe you're taking a slight restriction at the base of the throat, adding in that ujjayi breathing. So in through the nose, slight restriction at the base of the throat, and out the nose. And the breath just becomes slow and rhythmic. It's like maybe you were listening to the waves on the shore. And you may be here listening to me, but I'm really just a guide to help you listen to yourself, to your breath, to your body. And so use your ujjayi breath as an anchor, a tether into your body, into the present. Let's take several more rounds here. And as the breath just starts to fade away any pattern, let's take an inhale, reach the arms overhead. Interlace the hands behind you to start. Turn your palms open. I always recommend a yawn. It just signals the nervous system to relax. Stepping out of our day a bit. And then grab onto your elbows. So frame your face. Now some of you can clear your head comfortably with the forearms passing the head. Others of you forearms are resting on the forehead. One's not better than the other. It just depends on how you're feeling in the shoulders. Go ahead and switch so that the other arm is on top. And then gently relax. Roll to your side if you're on these props, and you'll just remove them, those out of your way. And then if you had that strap with a loop, grab it. We're going to return to our back. you don't have a loop, no big deal. But if you have one, slide it over the right foot. I already sort of pre-did my loop in here. And so I'm going to slide the other end over my elbows. Palms come together into prayer. And as I take my hands behind me, I'm sort of moving a little deeper into my hamstring stretch. And I actually made this a little too long. Okay, there we go. So you can adjust your strap, and if you're not using it the way I am, just find a way that you can get into the hamstrings. Maybe you're continuing prayer hands with the shoulders. I can get my strap. Good. And then consider straightening that left leg out in front of you. Just taking a few moments to get into our stretch. This is our first hamstring stretch, so don't overdo it. It's a nice way to release the back body, sort of connect with the earth before we stand and move. And take your straps into your left hand if that's what you have. You can hold your leg as well. And cross the leg all the way over. Just enjoy a nice twist. You can take the right arm out to the side. Move that shoulder blade out from underneath you. And then bring your leg all the way up. And then take your left foot into your strap. I don't know about you, but my left side is always much tighter. Just take a few moments here. And just start to notice any differences between the sides. We don't have to do anything with it. We're always trying to pay attention. Our mind wants something to do. And so when we have these moments of space, sometimes the mind starts to wander. And so give your mind a job. It will stay more present that way. And so you may start to just investigate. Is one side different than the other? Am I present in the breath? What else can you observe about your body? Straps to the right hand. Cross the leg over. Maybe you'll get a good pop. And then bring your leg up. Pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice hug. And then either rock up to seated or roll over to the right, whatever makes sense for you. And we're going to move into Virasana with Gomukhasana arms. So you want that strap possibly. Actually, if you have a strap, grab it. I'm just going to sit sort of the other way so you can see where I'm going with this. So maybe sit on a block in Virasana or sit on your feet, whatever's working for you. And if you have a strap, use it. We're going to, even if you don't normally, we're going to sort of floss the shoulders. So we're going to take the strap in the right hand, turn the right palm behind you, set the hand on the shoulder, and just sort of guide that elbow back. Take the left arm out, thumb down, and slide the arm behind the back. And this time will be a little challenging for me because this left shoulder really has trouble in this movement for me. So just take a moment in your sort of regular Gomukhasana arms. And I'm trying to work more the back of my seat down onto the block, lifting the pubic bone towards the navel. I'm hugging that right elbow in. And then we're going to move to flossing the shoulders. So you're going to take that right hand and just let it move up, but the strap is sliding through the left hand. If you don't have a strap, you can just stay with the arms where they were. And as I lift up through that right hand, it's helping that left hand for me, which it needs it today. And then the left hand is going to pull down, helping this right hand. You can adjust yourself on the strap if you need. And then again, right arm reaches up as much as you need. Left hand reaches down. And then just take one more on your own. And maybe you feel like staying in one place more than the other. Okay, and release. All right, how do we do? So I'm going to do the other side. Again, if you don't have a strap, no big deal. This could be a scarf or a belt, or you can just stay stationary with Gomukhasana arms. Right thumb down. And sides are different. Like this side for me, it's very easy to clasp those hands. That shoulder isn't as tight. So on your own, decide to stay there, or are you going to floss the shoulders? And flossing the shoulders is just getting a little bit of warmth and movement. You can stay or help moving those arms up and down. Couple more rounds. All right. So set that aside if you had your strap. We'll use that later. You can take your block to the top of your mat. You have those available. And then find your way to hands and knees, table pose. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Have a torso's distance between your hands and knees. Take an inhale and pull your chest forward, widening through the collarbones. Exhale, round your spine and draw your navel in. And just find your breath. Inhale, chest forward, navel lifts in. Exhale, round spine, press through the palms and the shins. One more together. Inhale. Exhale. Shift back, hips to heels. Child's pose. Walk the fingertips out in front of you, spread wide through the fingers. And already here, we're starting to work the biceps, the inner upper arms up, the triceps down. It was that same work we did a moment ago in Gomukhasana. Just we straightened that bottom arm. Find your way up to hands and knees. Lift the heart again, but this time tuck the toes. Lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Paddle out the feet. Maybe this is the first chance you've had to stop today. Pump the blood up the legs. Maybe we were sitting a lot today, so just start to warm and hydrate the lower limbs. Shift yourself into plank. Top of a push-up. Now take care of you. You can always be on your knees here, especially if the wrists want a little bit of time to warm up. And see if you can spin your inner thighs up, reach your tailbone back, pull your navel in. The heart leads forward, and instead of looking forward, which sort of cricks the neck, look slightly down and forward so the crown of your head, the soft spot of your head is reaching forward. And then from plank or from your knees, tip forward, elbows bend, slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Thumbs are behind the breast line, reach back through the toes. Take an inhale, lift the heart into your low cobra, and release it down. Inhale, lift the heart and shoulder heads, pull the navel in, and release. Inhale, lift the heart, slide onto the forearms for Sphinx. Maybe shift back if you're partially off your mat. So you're going to interlace your hands, tuck the bottom pinky underneath so your hands are nice and flush to the floor. Root down evenly from the elbows to the wrists and pull the arm bones back isometrically as you draw your chest forward. Press into the feet, shins lift. Lift the navel, tailbone reaches back. Now some of you will stay here. This will feel really good for you. Or tuck the toes under and come into plank on the forearms. So adding a little core, but again, I always consider my classes all levels because you have lots of options. So at any time take it up, at any time take it down. For me, it's always harder than it should be because I'm talking the whole time. So the breathing is a little bit more challenging. All right, so 3 more breaths. And then if you were in plank on the forearms like I am, you might consider walking the feet in like down dog for dolphin. Let the head hang, the head is not on the ground. Root through the arms and lift up. And if you're not here, you can go back to that Sphinx with the hands interlaced. Walk your feet back if you weren't already. Look forward, knees down, belly down, chest forward, hands are parallel. Okay, let's lower down. Press up, find your way to downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here. Down dog, reach your right leg up behind you halfway. Point the toes down so you really have a nice neutral leg. Take an inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Pull the knee high to the chest. Inhale the leg back. Exhale the knee to the left arm. Now this is different. See if you can set your foot down on the floor to the side and just slide it over. Now you may or may not have space next to your mat, but do the best you can. Spin your inner thighs towards one another, weight even on the hands. Pull your chest forward. If this feels like a lot, then just bring your front knee down and find a lunge. Some of you may take your left hand, reach it forward like you want to give a handshake. Couple of breaths. Bring the hand down, bring the right knee to the chest, and set that foot on the floor next to your right thumb tip for a lunge. Hands on floor or blocks. Pull your chest forward on an inhale. Exhale, lift your hips and your front toes, wide pyramid fold. Inhale, forward lunge, lift the heart. Exhale, tip it back, wide pyramid. One more. Inhale and exhale. Okay, find your lunge. Move your blocks. Step to plank, top of your push-up. From plank or your knees tip forward, lower halfway. Can you pause in chaturanga? All the way down. Inhale, cobra. Or straighten the arms, press into the feet, lift the thighs, up dog. Look forward, not up. So you can reach through the crown of the head, which is a slight chin lock. Downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths. Left leg lifts, inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to the right arm. Great. Now, if this is working, set your foot outside the mat and slide over. Hug those inner thighs together. Sliding is a lot easier if you have a wood floor, so sorry if you don't. But see if you can hug the inner thighs together. Stay up on those back toes. Right arm reaches forward. Maybe if you did that the other side, thumb is up like a handshake. Find length from fingers back through right heel. Breathe. Bring your hand down, left knee in. Set your left foot next to your left thumb tip. You may need to grab it and boost it up, no big deal. Hands on floor or blocks. Inhale, heart forward. Exhale, hinge back. All right, 2 more on your own. Step to plank when you're ready. Shift forward, lower halfway chaturanga. If you feel ready, scrub the toes back, flip over them. Upward facing dog, look forward. Downward facing dog, and breathe. Take a few breaths here. See if you can take that soft spot and reach it to that space between the thumbs. So it's a very gentle chin lock. Very, very gentle. Chin slightly to the chest. Not a lot. If I look too much to the chest, now I'm looking at my navel. So find that Goldilocks, that happy medium. Hide your toes. Bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Look at the ground. Reach through the soft spot. Exhale, fold. Root to rise. Inhale, arms reach to the sky. Palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Oh, okay, how are we doing? So we're at the top of our mat, feet together, little bit of space between the heels, arms by the sides. All right, Surya Namaskar, Sun Salute. Take an inhale, arms rise, palms press at the top. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees on the way down. Inhale up halfway, but look at the ground. Exhale, step to plank. Shift forward, lower chaturanga, hold. 3 breaths. If you're a jumper, next round, land here. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, down dog. We're here 5 breaths. So your hands are shoulder width apart, feet are hip width apart. Really press firmly into the inner hands as you lift through the inner shoulders. Spin back from the inner thighs. Try to lift the toes to the shins. Inhale, high to your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky. Palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Round 2. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. If you'd like, exhale, jump chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. This can always be child's pose. Take care of you. High to your toes, bend your knees, step or hop. Top of the mat, inhale up halfway, look at the ground. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, reach the arms to the sky. Palms press, navel in and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, take 3 rounds of Surya A on your own. If you don't know it, just make it up. We meet in your 3rd down dog. All right, inhale. And exhale. Move with your breath. Sun salutes are a moving meditation, so if you want to slow your movement down, slow your breath down. Remember, you can make any changes you need. This is your time. You can even be child's pose. When you get to down dog or your child's pose, give you 3 to 5 breaths here. There are lots of options how to move into your poses. We have 1 more round to meet in your next downward facing dog. So when you arrive in this down dog, let's just meet there together. You are in child's pose and find your way up to down dog. And then from down dog, let's raise our right leg up halfway. Inhale. Exhale, step your foot to the center of your hands, right in the middle. Anchor the back heel down and come on up, warrior 2. Okay. So warrior 2, check out that your front heel intersects your back arch. Allow yourself to really turn from within that right hip socket so that your right knee very easily points out over your 2nd to 3rd toe. Sink into that lunge. And the back leg is like Tadasana. It's like a mountain pose. So turn the back toes in just slightly, but feel that this leg is nice and strong. Your ribs and chest will rotate sideways, but your hips have a very slight rotation to the bent knee. So all these little movements in the body. All right, couple of breaths. And I just sort of naturally turn my palms up today in this pose. It just helps sort of give the shoulders a bit more space, but that's preference. Feel the right buttock hug underneath as you press the left thigh back. So it's a bit of a sandwiching action on your pelvis. And just begin to lean forward towards the bent knee. Set your right elbow onto the thigh for now. This can always change. Take your top hand, reach it towards me or towards the side of your mat. And then slowly turn your thumb up. So your palm is facing forward, your thumb is up. And then take your arm across the body slowly. But you'll notice it becomes harder to keep that thumb facing towards the ceiling the closer you get to your body. So just keep wrapping that outer arm in, keep the thumb up, lengthen, and then pull the bottom ribs out from underneath you. So you're welcome to take this right hand down if you want to a block or floor, but our effort really right now is working this top arm. Couple of breaths. Tell you what, you want to get a workout, teach and talk at the same time. Try to get all those breaths in. Must be some extra heartbeats I get in there for that. All right, take another breath. And then inhale, come on up, warrior two. But reverse it. So left arm behind the back, right arm up. Straighten the right leg, parallel the toes for a moment. You might shorten the stance a bit. And then take those same arms like we did earlier, Gomukhasana arms. So turn the right hand back, place it on the shoulder, guide the elbow back. If you already know it makes sense to have a strap, grab it. I'm going to see. I'm lazy, so I'm just going to hold a piece of my shirt. This is my shoulder that doesn't like to cooperate. And then I'm going to turn the right leg back out to the side. So we're sitting up a triangle, but we're keeping the arms as they are. Back toes turn in, front heel to back arch. And then lift up through the right elbow tip. Hinge from the hip, so not at the waist, from the pelvis tip. And then reach that right elbow forward towards the front of your mat. Push weight into the right big toe. Reach through the elbow, and then can you rotate the bottom ribs out? Pull the navel in. Really lengthen. Couple more breaths. Reach through that elbow tip. And then take the arm forward. So if you could touch the front of the room, and then set the hand maybe on the block behind the ankle. Or if it has to go in the shin, resist the shin into the hand. Top arm reaches up. And breathe. Sweep the top hand down, come up onto the back toes. Find yourself in a lunge. Step to plank, yogi's choice. You can take a vinyasa, a set of push-ups, or go right to down dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it to the center of the hands. Anchor the back heel down. Come on up, warrior two. And then take a few moments. Get yourself set. Front heel back arch. Turn the back toes in slightly. Sink really deep into your lunge and try to wrap that left buttock underneath. Press the right thigh back. We're going to lift the whole left side waist. Open the heart to the side wall. Arms are out. And just explore. Where do you want your hands to go? What feels good for you? Today, I'm intuitively bringing my palms up. So this is a good example of that non-attachment, right? So if you're thinking, oh, just classic pose, you think, oh, the hands have to be down. And it's those have-tos that don't allow us to explore. So just explore. Maybe palms are facing forward or up. Doesn't really matter. Be non-attached to the outcome of the pose. What you think you know, throw it away. Lean forward, elbow to thigh. Take the top arm high, lengthen the bottom waist. And then take your right hand in front of you, rotate the palm to face forward, the thumb is up. And then go as slow as you can across the body. Keep wrapping the tricep down, bicep up till the thumb is facing the ceiling. It'll get harder the closer to you it gets. You can stay or place your hand on the block or floor behind you, but wrap that outer arm in, lengthen the bottom waist. From that back heel up through the fingertips, one long line. And then explore. You can look up under the right armpit or look down at the left shoulder. If there's something you do every time, try something else. Maybe you look just straight ahead. Inhale, rise, warrior two. Reverse it, right arm behind the back. Straighten the legs, point those left toes to the side wall. Left hand behind you, pat yourself on the back. Right hand reaches for the elbow, and then underneath this side you might be able to reach your hand or just hold a piece of your shirt if that didn't work for you. Turn your left foot back out from within the hip socket, back toes turn in. Tip the hips back. Reach the elbow tip forward, find your breath. Push firmly into the left big toe. Lengthen the bottom waist and breathe. And see if you can really lengthen the left side waist, but then roll top ribs back, bottom ribs out. Left arm reaches forward as if you could touch the front of your mat. And then bring that hand down onto that block. Top arm high or whatever you decided worked for you. Sweep the hand down. Come up onto the back toes and find your vinyasa, set of push-ups, or anything else you'd like to take. Walk your hands back towards your heels, forward fold. Feet are still hip width, but let the knees bend enough that your chest just really drops against the thighs. You can grab onto your elbows again. Hold the sides of the elbows so that it pulls the weight of the torso down, but lift the shoulders just around your ears to give your neck some space. Switch the clasp. Release your hands, heel toe the feet together, big toes touch, sliver of space between the heels. Bend your knees, drop your seat, chair pose, Utkatasana. Root to rise, stand all the way up, and arms down by your sides. Okay, how are we doing? So let's take our feet wide, just turn towards the side wall. Take your hands to your hips. And we want the outside edges of our feet to be parallel with the sides of the mat. If we just think of feet parallel, kind of gets confusing. So think outside edge of the mat and outside edge of the foot are parallel. Hug the outer hips in, elbows back, lift your chest, not your head, so keep a tiny little chin lock. Inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, halfway. Look at the ground, so it's a little bit of that chin lock again. So your soft spot is reaching forward. Hug those outer hips in, keep folding. Elbow tips towards one another, keep folding. Reach the crown of the head forward, keep folding. You can always release the hands if you want, but let's stay a little longer with balance if that's okay for you. If you release the hands, so you can have the hands between your legs, so fingertips in line with the toes, shoulder width apart. You can come up onto fingertips and pull the chest forward. If they didn't make it to the floor, put them on your blocks. And then exhale, fold. Prasarita Padottanasana A. Now my stance is pretty short. I'm okay with that because I have some tight hamstrings. But wherever you are, see if you can draw those forearms in, lift the inner shoulder blades up. Lead with your heart, come up. Hands on your hips, elbows to the sky as you come all the way to stand. Okay, so step your feet in, work out your ankles. We're going to do Gomukhasana arms again, so maybe you want that strap or not. Take your feet wide. My strap is like super, super long. See what I can do here. I know. I'll just use another strap that's not so long. Okay, so take your Gomukhasana arms. So whatever was working for you, with or without that strap. I'm going to use my strap for this shoulder. Hug that right elbow in, turn the toes in a little bit. Lift and lengthen, find a nice long spine, and then hinge from your hips. Stop yourself at halfway, so it's similar to that other pose, but let's reach through the elbow tip. Reach through the crown of the head. And if you had a side view here, we're really trying to get a nice broad back. So pull your chest forward. Keep reaching through the elbow tip. Now you can fold, but instead of curling, keep leading with the heart, reaching through the elbow tip, and think more about getting length here than about necessarily getting to the ground. Keep pulling that elbow tip forward. Slight chin lock, but don't overdo it. Firm your thighs and slowly rise. Okay, release. I'm going to set myself up a little better that time because I didn't have my feet on a nice line. So do your left side, whatever you'd like. With or without your props. Find length, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Come halfway. Let the elbow tip lead you. Pull your heart forward, find your breath. Try to make a back bend between your shoulder blades. And then lead with your heart, come all the way up. Okay, almost done with those, I promise, but a couple more. So step your feet in, move the strap away. Find your way to the top of your mat, feet together. Take an inhale, sit back into chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale up halfway, Ardha. Exhale, step or jump back, Vinyasa, or skip it, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Raise the right leg up halfway. Step your foot next to your right thumb tip. I like to have blocks handy. And then take your back foot, move it in and up to the left for warrior one. Sink into your pose. All right, so find your pose. Couple of breaths here. And then straighten your leg, hands on hips. Shorten your stance, so just by a couple of inches so that you're nice and rooted. Maybe widen your stance so your hips will square. This is almost our last Gomukhasana arms, I promise. I know it's hard, especially for me on this one side, but bring your left arm up, unless you've already determined that your shoulders need to do something different, then just skip it. But otherwise, take that left elbow up, the right arm underneath. Lift up through the pubic bone, drive down through the right big toe, inhale. Exhale, hinge forward. As you get to halfway, it's just like that last pose. Pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Lead with the elbow tip, lead with your chest. See if you can really push through the big toe mounds as you start to fold deeper towards your shin. Work the leg. And then left hand can release to the floor or block. Right hand to the right hip. Pin it back. Pull your chest forward, inhale. And then exhale, revolve. Maybe that top arm comes high. Hug the side hip in and press your palm. Imagine your palm is pressing into the side wall. Release. Move your props away. Step or float back, Vinyasa, or right to your down dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step the foot next to the left thumb tip. Pivot the back foot up and root it down. Rise, warrior one. Sink in. Take a couple of breaths here. What's happening there? And then straighten your legs, hands on hips, shorten and widen your stance. Square the hips forward. My blocks are not quite where I want them, but that's okay. I can grab them later. So take your right elbow up or make changes. If the arms aren't for you, take something else that is. Now this is my shoulder. It's really hard for me to get into that position. So just meet yourself where you are. Lift up through the elbow tip, lift the navel in and up, inhale. Exhale, tilt forward. And we really want to feel like we're hinging at the pelvis, not at the waist. Let the elbow tip lead you. Pull the breastbone forward. If you're like me, my hands aren't meeting, that's fine. It's more about the length of the spine. Push firmly through the big toe mounds. Anchor the back heel down. Maybe you fold closer to the front leg. You give yourself a nice massage. Pat on the back. Whenever you need. we'll release that right hand down to the floor or block, heart forward. Left thumb to left hip crease, pin it back. Hardest forward, lengthen, and then maybe revolve. Take that top arm high. Breathe. Push into that palm to help revolve. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. All right. Bring it down. Float it back. Or take whatever you'd like here. Vinyasa. All right, so take a couple of breaths in down dog. We're going to meet in child pose in a moment here. So knees to the ground, tailbone to the heels, child's pose, rest. If it's too much head below the heart, you can just sit upright. Take a few moments of rest, whatever that looks like for you. And then when you're done, find your way onto your back. Now when you get to your back, your knees are going to be bent. If you have a block, grab a block. You're going to place that prop, the short side of the block, against the left thigh and the back of the left elbow there to hold it. If you don't have a prop, you can do the same of just sort of holding elbow to knee. It's just a little more challenging. So press back of the arm, not the elbow tip, but more the tricep and the thigh into that prop. Take your right foot to the ceiling. Take your right hand to the ceiling. Left side is fixed, right side is the mover. Inhale, lengthen the right sides away from one another. Exhale, bring them back. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, return. Now continue that on your own. The left side is working. I'm really trying to push the elbow and the thigh into that block. Only go as low on the right side, on the hands and the leg as you feel comfortable. Let's do 5 more on this side. All right, knees in. How'd you do? It's one of my favorites. All right, so place your block on the right side. Hold it there with the back of the right arm if that's for you. Left hand, left foot to the ceiling. Inhale, extend. Exhale, return. And just continue that on your own as far as you want to go. You can even have bent elbow and knee if that's for you. Five more. All right. Good job, yogis. Okay, rock yourself up. And we're going to move into our inversion. So I just recently gained a wall space. You may not have a wall space in your house, and that's totally fine. So we're going to do a little bit of core, that forearm plank again that we did before, but with our hands interlaced. And then we're going to take it into sort of a modified headstand. Really, it's sort of dolphin with the hands, Panchamayurasana with the hands interlaced, pardon me. So the first one, the head will not be on the ground. If you don't have a wall space, you can do dolphin without kicking up. You can do legs up the wall or on a block if that makes more sense for you. So if you have a wall, move yourself to the wall. And if not, just do what makes sense for you. So we're going to face the wall if you're there. We're interlacing the hands. So same thing we did before. I'm tucking the bottom pinky underneath. And then tuck the toes under, lift into plank on the forearms. I don't want the seat up yet. I want to feel nice and level. Heart forward. Take a couple of breaths here just to feel is the weight even. I tend to put more weight on one side than the other. And then walk your feet in, just like down dog. We're in dolphin. Lift out of the shoulders. Let the head hang. Your head is in no way touching the ground. And then take one leg, lift it as high as it will go. You can look up just a little bit.
Press into the sides of your arms and lightly hop to the wall. So again, your head is not on the floor. Mine may look like it's on the floor, but it's not. Root through the forearms, come out of those arms. If you want to explore, you can bend your knees, lift your hips up, and then take those legs back up if you'd like. We're working more the upper back. I think so many of us have neck issues that this is actually enough versus being in a headstand. If you don't have a wall and you want to be in a headstand, great. And then let's lower down. So take a rest in child's pose or sit upright if that was too much head below the heart. How do we do? Okay. So if you want to do that one more time or legs up the wall, great. If you want to do headstand, that's fine. I just encourage you, don't wrap the hands around the head. We in no way want to feel like we're doing that sort of classic sit-up. It's more about gently pressing the head against the hands and draw the elbows in. If you're using the wall, there's not a lot of kicking. So if you're doing headstand, set up your hands the same way. This time, graze your head against your hands, gently set your head down. Lift your shoulders, walk your feet in, and I'm going to try straight leg and very gently come on up. Now I'm on my head, but my arms are very long, so I'm mostly on my arms. I've got about 10% of the weight on my head. And I'm going to use the wall in the way where one knee is going to bend and the other leg is going to be up, working the tailbone. You can do both legs. When you're ready to come down, take a nice rest. All right, so a couple more breaths. Some of you are still in your headstand. I have neck issues from car accidents, so I'm real aware of when I do this on my neck. I have to really make sure that my arms are set up well, my upper back. So please be kind to yourself if that's not your way of doing it. Okay. Okay, so finishing out your poses. If you took headstand where you had weight on the head, take a little down dog just to release the neck. If you have legs at the wall, you can be there a little longer, legs in the air. And then from down dog, shift forward and lie all the way down onto your belly. Okay. You're on your belly. I'm just going to get my timer out for our yin postures. Okay, so I use a nice timer on my phone. It's called Insight Timer. I'm going to grab a nice little blanket for a pillow. And we're going to lie on our belly. You're going to take the right arm out 90 degrees. And you're going to look away from that hand. Let me just get our timer going here. There we go. So plant your right palm down, right ear down. That may be enough for you. Otherwise, roll onto your right side. Pull the knees into fetal position. Make sure your palm is still down, really rotating that thumb up. And then maybe you can take that left knee up. Left hand can be in front of you like a kickstand or even behind your back if you want to do something a little different with the shoulder. So the timer's going. We're here 2 minutes. I'll just really sink into your pose. Some of you can add the second knee up. Adjust your hips if so. If that feels like too much, just bring that knee down. Oftentimes, some of you sort of check out after the vinyasa and the yin part, you kind of take off, but think of this as sort of unwinding from the work we've done. About 5 more breaths. All right, move slow as you go to unwind. Come to your belly. You can start to shift sides. So as we unwind, bring yourself onto your belly, left ear to the blanket, left arm out. Just take a moment here. All right, and then again, start to roll onto this side. So as the timer is starting, sometimes this is not for everyone. Sometimes you may have a shoulder dislocation where you don't want to have that weight on your arm, or maybe you just want to not go in as deep. So you can always sit sideways to the wall, place your hand on the wall, and then turn away. So this is one option. You can kind of move. For me, actually, that's weird. That feels better. Okay. Lots of options. We're about 30 seconds in. Got about 90 more seconds. Just notice how you feel. Right hand can be in front of you like a kickstand or behind your back again, if that made more sense. Some of you may lift that second knee up. And poses are different. So remember that whole time I kept saying my left shoulder was the one that was more challenging. It was in certain ways, but in this pose, it's actually able to move deeper. So, sometimes we work really well in one direction, not as well in the other, and that's fine. Sort of getting to know yourself. Couple breaths left. All right, so come back onto your belly. Take a moment here. And if you had a strap, grab it. If not, you can interlace hands behind you. My shoulders like a little bit of help, so I'm going to use the strap. So I'm just placing it over me. My hands are facing down. I'm going to hold onto the strap with the elbows bent and then draw my elbows towards one another. So pressing through the feet, lifting the heart, and straighten the arms, maybe not all the way this straight, depending on how you're feeling in the elbows. Lift your chest, raise the legs, Shalabhasana. Or bend your knees, you can reach for your ankles, Dhanurasana. If these aren't for you, take bridge. We're just stretching the body opposite of what we've done the whole time. Don't worry, we're not here 2 minutes. We'll call it 5 breaths. And release. Turn your head to one side and breathe. Okay, once more. You can interlace hands or use your strap. Maybe you're in bridge. Lift your chest. Raise your legs. Bend your knees. Maybe reach for your ankles. If you haven't, flex your feet. Press back. Lift your heart. 5 breaths. Release. Turn your head to the other side. Bend your knees. Wag your feet side to side. Press yourself up, hands and knees. And then cross your right leg in front of your left. So I'll do it from here and then I'll turn. So knees fit together, separate your feet, and try to sit between the feet on the floor or on a prop. And if you feel like you're off to the side, then grab a prop to sit underneath. I'm going to show this at the wall though, because I know some of you have a wall and just really enjoy this version. So if you want to be at the wall, legs up the wall, cross knee over knee, and then slide those feet down to either side. So this is a nice variation if you'd like. So we've been talking about Gomukhasana arms the whole time, but we rarely, I find anymore, do the arms and the legs together. So some of you had crossed the right leg over. We're squaring out the hips. And then those arms that you're probably over by now, so they're optional if you don't want them. Take that left arm up. Lift and lengthen. You might be sitting tall or forward fold. So get yourself set up. I'll get our timer started. We'll say 2.5 minutes. It's not too extreme. The arms are up to you. Oftentimes by the time I get here, I prefer something like eagle arms. But we spent our whole time working towards this, so it may be the time that you really feel like you want to move into the full expression of the pose. And for me, sitting tall actually feels a lot better today than folding forward. Maybe you close the eyes. And just see if there's something new that you can explore in this pose. And the feet are flexed. Everyone will look much different stacking the knees. I think that's where we get in trouble sometimes when we start to learn the poses. We start to sort of aesthetically think we know what the poses look like. And if you see my pose compared to a different teacher's pose, our bodies are very different. And so my knees may not be stacked, their knees might be stacked, and we're still in the same pose. So it just depends on how your body sort of articulates, how it works together. And so it's more about finding what the sensation is. If there's a dull leg, fine, work through that. If there's a pinch or a tingle or falling asleep of a limb, then you back out. Okay, 10 more breaths, 1 minute. All right, let's do the other side. So whatever version you took. Whew. Okay, 2.5 minutes. We'll take our finishing pose after this. So maybe that right arm is up. Ah, see? The shoulder is getting a little better. If you need, use your strap. So again, it's personal preference. You can sit tall, you can forward fold, you can do legs at the wall. But I find especially with this pose, and if you're using the arms as well, it becomes much more intense when we add the time. Just remember, yin isn't always about, some people equate yin with something like restoratives, but this is intense. It's intense to stay
sort of with this pose for a long period of time. And being in the pose for a breath or two is one experience. You start to add, 5, 10, 20 breaths, it becomes much different. So we've got about a minute left. I'll call it 10 breaths. Close the eyes. Maybe you make adjustments, releasing the hands or shifting forward. Let's see if you can just stay present with your pose, these final 10 breaths or 60 seconds. Okay, so take a finishing pose of choice. We'll be there a couple of minutes and then we'll move into our Shavasana. So I'm just going to keep it at the 2.5 minutes. I think that's a nice block of time. And your finishing pose is going to be something that feels neutralizing for you. So just sort of naturally, I feel like doing legs out to the side, split. This could be a seated forward fold, legs up the wall, happy baby. But again, it is a yin pose, so you're going to be there for a little while. So just be intuitive about it. It's nice to do something that doesn't have a side, like a right or left, but a little bit more in the middle. I was trying to find it before class. It's sort of this Buddhist proverb that I used to read. I couldn't find it, but I really liked it because if you go back to that non-attachment and how knowledge can sort of create this barrier, we don't allow new information to come in. Paraphrased, obviously, the proverb was that knowledge is like ice that doesn't allow the water to flow. So, sometimes we get very into what we think we know, whether it's how to do a pose or something we've learned or how we think things should be or our opinions, and it doesn't really allow for anything new to come in. So think enjoy, but also be open to something new. And that's our non-attachment. And I believe non-attachment is vairagya in Sanskrit, and means without color. So every time we have a desire, it sort of colors the mind. We can imagine we have a lot of desires, there's a lot of colors, there's a lot of rippling of the mind. And so being without color, without desire, without sort of those things that taint or confuse us or sort of send us off on those desires. And so that without color is just, it's more neutral, right? Things aren't good or bad. It's sort of how we respond to them. So yin is about being neutral, observing, not reacting. Okay, so start to get yourself set up for your Shavasana. Whatever you have around will do. But how is this the most comfortable for you? Just get yourself set up. So maybe a bolster under the knees. Today I'm going to put blocks under the heels. And then always I like my blanket over my pelvis. We're going to do 3 minutes for Shavasana. I'll use the timer so we're all completely able to relax and not think about the time. Okay, timer is going. So get yourself set up into your Shavasana. And just enjoy these moments for you. Yoga is about preparing us for our journey off the mat. And so Shavasana, or corpse pose, is preparing us for death. And it doesn't have to be sort of morbid. It can just be the end of something. The end of something just means that it's the beginning of something new. And so we're ending our practice, sealing it in with our symbolic pose of Shavasana, and giving us the real moment to pause, to allow our body and mind to rejuvenate and to seal in the benefits of our practice. Start to bring your attention back. Maybe interlace hands again, reach back and yawn. Move fingers and toes, start to make your way onto your side. And then with eyes closed or partially closed, press yourself upright to seated. And as you find your way to seated, just draw your hands to your heart in gratitude for all the time and effort you've put into you today. Lift your heart and bow your head. Namaste.